doing? How are you keeping up your money? Are you keeping that in the pocket? Are you keeping that for the ladies? Are you keeping it under the bras? Are you putting it under the mattress?
The stocking.
This time we're going to speak about saving and how you can adopt it, or is it even a good thing for you to save? We're going to understand the dynamics of saving around the country, more driven around the saving culture in Uganda. Joining us, of course, with Joram Posonko, but we're here with Sharon Tumushabe, who is the VP, that is Vice President Sales at Zeno Investment, to dive through that particular understandings around there. Sharon, thank you for joining us. Joram, thank you for joining us as well.
I'm always here.
Okay. What is saving? Because I have a feeling someone might not even understand. We happened to, Joram and I were talking, that was over the weekend, when we thought we were saving, and someone was telling us that that is not saving. So we were saying, okay, at the end of the month or the end of the week, I'm putting something somewhere for myself.
It was actually tuelumia instead of saving.
Someone said tulimukwerumia, because after that we're going to pick that money after a very short period and we use it. Can you make us understand? Were we doing saving? What is saving to you?
So basically, saving is you putting bits and bits of money aside. So you have this money you're earning and then you decide to put some of it aside. So that's saving. If you have money today, as you're spending it, you put something aside. That's a saving. So if you're able to keep some of your money, that's what they call saving. So when you say kwerumia, I don't get it very well.
Okay, does it have, do I withdraw it after a certain period? Can you tell me what limit do I have to tell myself that, okay, I'm confident I have been saving?
Okay. So yes, so what happens is, every time you put money aside, it's always good for you to have a target, a reason why you're saving. So we put money aside for several things. So it could be for a wedding, it could be for Christmas, it could be for your child's education. So if you put these small bits of money aside, that would be saving. So if you hit your target and then spend it on that target, then that's fine. You've actually saved money for that particular goal.
Have you been doing that or gambling with that?
That particular goal.
Yes. And when you hit it, when you withdraw it or put it in use, you saved.
You have saved and then you have spent it for that purpose.
Of saving it.
Why you saved it.
Okay. Does that kwerumia, does it answer the kwerumia we were being given?
It does. So and makes more meaning, by the way.
Where that comes in, it's kwerumia is taking away that joy you would have had today and say, let me save this for later. So you cannot save if you've not, the Uganda word is kwerumia. We know kwerumia today, so that's
sacrifice.
So you sacrifice, yes. So you sacrifice today for tomorrow.
Okay.
Because if you don't sacrifice some of your money for future goals, it means when the future comes, you're not prepared. So saving is, okay, it can be painful to those that are actually depriving themselves enjoyment now for enjoyment later, okay? So you have money today, you have to sacrifice and put some aside, because we use our current income to actually plan for future goals, to actually plan for future expenses. So yeah, saving is a sacrifice to some extent.
Is it very, very much important? So important that, you know, to have success, for Rita to be rich, for Rita to be successful, I have got to have saving, or I need saving. Is it very important? Because you're telling us for, you know, for a better future, I've got to pull aside something. Does it have to work that way? Isn't there any diversion that you can tell us?
No, there's no diversion to it. You don't save today, your future is at risk.
How?
We use our current income not only to plan for our current goals, because you're working today, but as you're working today, it does not mean that you don't have a need next month. So often at times what people do is hoping that the future income will take care of future problems. And that's where we get it wrong. You need to plan for each penny, because there are expenses that never go away for life. You have to feed, you have to be healthy, you have to pay that rent, you like it or not. So the money you're having today, please put something aside to plan for those future financial goals. Okay. It doesn't mean that because you've received that money today, you have to spend it all today. Because we always have this notion, or we have this saying that, you know, tomorrow will take care of itself. Not knowing that you need to plan for tomorrow today, so that when tomorrow comes, you're prepared.
Okay, then. Jerome,
well, you see, serving with I think, like you mentioned, that is how people are actually living life now. But you see, the only challenge we also have in Uganda is that sometimes it is difficult to save. On one is depends on one's cash flow or how much someone receives money. It becomes very difficult for someone to actually save. For example, saving for future use, more so for retirement plans and all that. So, when you take us through saving, how can someone save?
Okay.
How can someone get that saving spirit in them?
Okay. So it all depends on what your visions are. Vision meaning, where do I want to see myself in the next few months? Where do I want to see myself in the next 1 year? Like I said, we don't only live for today. I don't know how old you guys are, but there's a point when you are very young, and now there's a point where now you're old and having a lot of responsibility. Now, when responsibility kicks in, the way you live your life should be in a sense that I have to plan, prepare myself. Let's avoid waiting for things to happen and then we react. Anybody who is going to live a successful life is a person that knows emergencies will always be there. So even if you have an emergency today, how do I now plan for the next emergency that will happen in future? So it's not just us thinking of, oh, I earn very little money. With even that little money, you're able to put something aside. Like we said, it's sacrifice. And that takes me to something that I always tell all the people that I give financial advice for, is that pay yourself first.
Okay.
When you pay yourself first, before you pay the landlord, before you pay school fees, it's you, the person that is actually going every morning, waking up so early to go and make ends meet. So as you're making ends meet, how are you taking care of yourself? Of course, someone will say, I'm going to go take a beer, I'm going to go and have a good meal. That's fine. But when you put money aside, now that's where the saving comes in. If you say, okay, now that I've earned this more money, let me pay myself X amount, and then please expenses. What else do I have to take care of? So that when the future comes, like we've said, we earn on a daily basis, we use our current income to also plan for the future. So if you're not putting something aside, that's why you find people are in debt. Whereby for you, when this expense comes, because you're not prepared, the first thing you're going to run, get a loan, you're going to borrow from friends.
And
we are
at the end of the
getting
day, you're
short
in
of
loans
that.
and all that.
And at least we shared what we were, you know, challenged with, and a lot of challenges are coming up with people, you know, not determining how they can even save at the end of the day. Maybe from the financial advisor perspective, if you could share with us your observation from how you assess, or how do you even assess the saving culture among Ugandans?
So mainly this depends, because we have people that are in town that are actually having regular income. So there are those salary earners. When we look at the informal sector, these are people doing small businesses where they're trying to make ends meet. We have farmers in the villages. So the culture of saving, you find that for people that are working, formal employment, you'd find that majority of them prefer saving monthly because their salaries are coming at the end of the month. So majority of them, some, actually it's about 10% of our workforce that has a retirement, a formal retirement account, 10% of the workforce. And that has to improve. So when we look at that, if you look at the 10%, what are the 90% doing? How are they able to actually go ahead and save for, let's say, their future goals like retirement? And then those that are not having a formal retirement account end up trying to do different things. So everybody tries to do different things to, you know, save up, they invest. You find that they're either buying land, they're planting trees, they're trying to do some farming, they're having a side hustle, or they're owning a business. Now, when it comes to the informal sector, now these ones, it depends. Some will go ahead and save weekly if they have like small groups where they save. Others, very few actually save daily. Trust you me, I think we need to just do a simple survey. How many Ugandans save on a daily basis? What I know how they save is that money will be on their mobile money account. So they've not spent it.
And
so
you withdraw it the next day for transport to go to work.
It's not an intention of saving.
it's not an intention of saving, but by default, because they are either having, let's say, a bank account, because they've not spent this money, they'll leave it on the bank account. So somehow they are saving, but in their heads,
They have to spend it tomorrow.
they want to spend, they're hoping to spend it.
So,
Yeah.
is that saving?
Yeah, money that has not been spent is saving, actually.
Regardless
When
of
I've not spent
regardless
the
of whether
money.
your intentions are right
Yeah,
to call them
provided you
savings or
have
not.
it and it's there and it's your money, it's a saving.
So is it having a long term and mid term?
Now we get into the planning.
Okay.
How best do I save? We need to plan for short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals. Like we said, the reason we come to work on a daily basis, because there's a reason as to why we are coming to work. You may be coming to work because you want to have a good lifestyle. You want to eat well, you want to live well. You may be coming to work, you have a child you have to take care of. So these are dreams we have. I want my child to go to a good school. And then those dreams should be turned into financial goals. And the way you plan for a child's education, the way you plan for your retirement, the way you plan for that holiday 6 months away from now should be different.
You're speaking
And
his mind, it is.
and it's always good to save for these things differently. Like, it's not good to keep all your savings for all your goals. You need to say, okay, for long term, this is the strategy I'm taking. For short term, this is the strategy I'm taking. For mid term, this is the strategy I'm taking.
So I want to know, how can one match a budgeting plan?
Okay. So for you to have a budget, there are several things. You need to first look at what are your sources of income. Where am I getting the money that I'm going to spend? Is it my salary? Is it through the business? So once you ascertain where the money is coming from, then you look at what are my expenses. So on the expenses, it's good to differentiate between your needs and your wants. Needs are those things that you need, like you cannot live without. You need to feed yourself, you need to pay rent, you need transport to work. So those are things that you need to plan for. How much am I spending on this on a monthly basis? So now you're getting to the budgeting side. What are my expenses? You note them down. Okay. Once you've come up with the budget, how am I distributing my income? Now, the distribution, number one rule is pay yourself first. Before you start
That is always the number one rule.
Number one rule, pay yourself
When you
first.
say pay myself first, which payment? So the payment is to save.
Pay
Because I actually think when you say pay yourself
I
first,
thought
is
that's
that
when I'm
maybe
going to
you
buy.
go buy yourself something.
No,
eat some good things that you've not eaten for a while.
That's not correct.
Okay.
That's not correct. Paying yourself first means put something aside for yourself for later. Because remember, you're going to pay the landlord, you're going to pay school fees, you're going to take care of medical emergencies for your family members. Now, you, the person who has worked, where is your payment? I don't mean go eat this money. I mean put some money aside to say, thank you for working so hard this month. This is my payment. Then go ahead, take care of the expenses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is great. And speaking about, paying myself and budgeting, there is this concern as well that comes along when I hold that income, when I hold that money. At some point, it tends to vanish away. Some people say that, like, I had money, I don't know where it went to. We want to help people from, that culture to erode away, to at least say I have something at the end of the day. But even before we go there is also a concern highlighting that you can never get something. We were talking about salary. You can never get something from your salary if you're salary dependent. And many people as well depend on salary for a lot of things. How can they now integrate? How can they now survive?
Okay. Salary. Okay, they say, it's always good to actually have several income sources, like have different things that are bringing in money, but also do those things that are not going to distract you from your day-to-day job. You need to do things that you will have time for to monitor and make sure they are performing very well. Not everybody is designed to be a businessman. Not everybody is designed. If you don't have the time, you don't have the expertise to actually monitor your business, monitor how your money is growing, you can just source someone to do it for you. You don't have to be involved day to day to manage your investments. So if you're a salary earner, you can still save, you can still invest. There are several ways to invest without even you breaking a sweat, and money works for you. Yeah.
We're going to get to saving for investment. But also, as Joram kicks in, there is also an issue that you highlighted about being in debt at some point. And you realize the way to survive now, someone will have no money in the middle of the week, just he has or she has 2 more weeks by the end of the month. There is no money there, you've got no any saving. What are you going to do? Go on my mobile money, borrow their money. Go to Joram, go to a friend, borrow their money. When salary comes, I am paying back, whether I'm paying back or defaulting, my issue here really. But then you tell someone, okay, you need to save. And the answer might come, maybe I'll be cheating myself, because at the end of the month, the things I have said for at some point, they don't count. You realize that the expenditure you are taking on a long month, spending on, and when you compute it to the savings, you really realize there is a smaller percentage for you as a need to save. So help someone there.
So what happens with debt is that sometimes our income does not match our expenses, and in there lies an opportunity to either wake up and see how best can I improve my skills to earn more. That's number one. Do I need education? Do I need to learn a new skill? What do I have to do to actually hit that income that meets my standards? Then there's also this other one whereby you live beyond your means. You're earning 800,000 shillings, your expenses are 2 million. So there's a mismatch. So you're either going to adjust on your lifestyle, adjust meaning, can I live within this 800K? That would be the most optimal way to do it. I'm earning 800, why am I living in a house of 900? Where is the money for lunch, meals, transport going to come from?
Why are you smiling, Joram? Are you living beyond your means?
You know, it's really funny, by the way, to find out that someone is actually earning, let's say 1 million, but living in a house maybe 1.5, or even 800 still. But then you want to ask yourself, where does he get transport? Where does he get all this money to, let's say, food? Where do you get the money to foot the bills, if at all, almost your salary caters for only one thing, rent? So that's what I'm talking about. Living within your means. Can you adjust, live a lifestyle that suits your income? As you're planning, how best do I improve my income? Otherwise, that is going to make you be in debt every month, because you have school fees, you have this house, because of status. I work here. How will they see me?
Indeed. Someone is scared. How can they see them dropping after that standard they have set?
So it's two things. You either look inside you to live a content life where you say, this is me, this is where I am,
this is who I am,
and this is what I can afford.
Okay.
Versus, guys, hey, I've borrowed money, I can afford this car. I've borrowed money, I can afford to eat in a posh restaurant. I've borrowed money, come let's drink. You're the same person going to go back and suffer to pay these debts with interest. Yet there is this other person who will say, okay, how much money can I budget for entertainment? How much money do I have to pay for my needs? How much money do I need to plan for my child's education? I'm not saying don't enjoy yourselves, but let's avoid getting debt to spend on wants. Let's get debt for investment. Let's get debt to grow assets, and then be able to pay back this debt with the interest, but also leaves you with a small return. So people need to start evaluating whether they're there to please others, what we call living like the Jones, you know, and keeping up with the Jones, actually. And then you want to show that you're also living a status. Those are the people that live very miserable lives later. You find somebody that really had very good lifestyle, but once that job is cut off,
he's gone.
because banks will like you because you're You're having
You're
a salary.
the customer.
You're actually having a salary.
Where they deduct from.
Where they deduct from. So once that lifestyle is no job, no one is going to lend you money. So you need to plan for that future lifestyle. So if you want to live a comfortable future, how about you start today to put something aside for investments? As it keeps growing in future, you're prepared. You can still live the same lifestyle as today. I'll give an example. We work, we earn a salary. Let's use this salary to put something for the future. Because the future will come, you like it or not, it will come. So how prepared are you? Have you been saving? Have you been investing? So when the future is here, how prepared are you?
Okay,
Yeah.
I can take you through.
Now, let's also see, does your budgeting help you save? Because we may tell people you need to have a budgeting plan and all that, and then someone budgets accordingly, then you still fail to save.
So having a budget helps you to have a roadmap. If you don't know where your money is going, most likely you will not know how to plan better. Some people have a challenge to keep budgets, and I know I've struggled with that sometimes, but at least keep those receipts. Everything you spend money on a daily basis, if you can't keep a budget, keep track of your expenses. Where did my money go today? Start with today, because today will take you to a week, it will take you to a month. So then you say, okay, these things I've spent on money, was it the right amount? Were they the right quantities? Is that something I would have done? So if you have that daily reflection on where your money has gone, and not just spending, and for you your life is not planned for, then it means your future is at risk, actually. Your future will be at risk, especially if you don't have a budget, you don't track your expenses. What are you doing?
Yes, how about the people who say, you know what, yes, I have got children, I accept, I bear them, but then I'm working, there are things that they shouldn't pass on me. Kids will grow, they will do their money, they will work, they will take care of themselves. There is that category, Sharon. What words do you have for such?
So parents who invest in their children, I think I grew up seeing my mother invest in us as her retirement. And I'm not saying that was bad. She was a civil servant, so she didn't earn that much. So investing in your child has to have an extent to which you as the parent, it's not like, I'm not saying please don't give your children the best life. They need the best quality life, but within your means. Okay? Please don't go borrow to take a child to a very expensive school that you can't afford. I went to a UPE school. UPE meaning Universal Primary Education.
I went to UPE. Did you go to UPE?
USCE.
Still the same.
Still
the same.
It was in secondary when I went into
still the same. But you'll find parents leaving these public schools for private schools that they can't afford. So take your children, give them the education they need to survive, because these children will have to take care of themselves. You can't babysit a child up to university, then they're done, then you're doing for them businesses.
Yes.
What are you doing for yourself? If you're finished to take care of yourself, please do all those things for your children, but plan for yourself as you plan for these children, because these are humans. Of course, they're children. They expect you to feed them, but let's try and give them the education that fits within our budget. You find parents that are taking kids to international schools that they can't afford. They go
because
to get
we have
loans.
groups, you know, there are
peer
groups,
pressure.
so,
There's peer pressure, and I know sometimes you'd want to fit within the crowd, but that's why I said reflect on yourself.
Whether you're living to please.
Thank you. These children, whether they've gone to UPE, whether they've gone to international schools, a child that is going to succeed in life will succeed, provided you give them the right guidance in terms of giving them the basic education, which they can get from any school, provided this school has a proper curriculum and the teachers are there to teach. The differences are there in terms of quality, but if you can't afford the extreme quality, there is something in between that can fit within your budget as a parent that you can actually go ahead and settle for. Please, let's stop this thing of thinking that by spending so much on my child, it's the same way, because when these children finish school, they also have their own problems. You actually find that these children come back to their parents to get more support. You understand? So is it better for you to save some money aside than to spend it all on an expensive school? Save some money so that maybe by the time this child is
come
done,
back for an extra support, you're ready to give it.
You already have something aside.
Thank you so much. And speaking about saving, as Joram will come in later, speak to us about when is the right time to start, you know, injecting something on my account. And then, does it have to be an account for me to save? Do I have to save from an account? Help us on that.
The right time to start investing is the first time you earn your first income. And then saving doesn't have an age limit. There are children that are doing chores at home and they're getting paid. My girl does chores and she gets paid.
do that
if
too.
she washes the car, she gets paid. So even as little as 6 years, provided this child is earning something, she has some funds with them, that's the right time to start saving. For someone who is working, your first paycheck should be the first day you start saving. Why? We said we use our current income to plan for later. So when, let's say this child, most children have piggy banks where they keep throwing their coins, that's saving, they're putting some money aside.
He still has a piggy bank. Am I speaking your mind?
Yes,
You still carry yours.
I said throwing some coins, throwing some papers.
Please share it.
So with piggy banks, you're just saving, but I would encourage you to actually go ahead and invest those savings. There are different products where you're able to actually invest as little as 10,000 shillings. Let's save and invest. Let's not just save, because when you save.
Jeremy is going to take you through saving for investment.
investments. Okay.
First, advise us, Sharon, on when to start, and also, does it have to be an account? I want to know.
Okay.
What more other priorities are there for me
When
to...
someone is saving.
Yes.
So people save differently. Somebody can save on a bank account, those that have bank accounts. Other people are saving on mobile money, because that's how they receive their income, so it stays on the phone. Some save in boxes. They have those piggy bank boxes at home, so they save it there. Some actually have groups, circles, women groups, or community groups where they save together. So you can literally save anywhere, but it's always good to save in secure places, because you can save your money and lose it all if you didn't save it in a secure place. So when you talk about security, we're talking about keep your money in a bank, because the bank will protect it for you. Thieves won't easily come to steal your money from a bank account. Invest your money. You can save it with a licensed fund manager. That is safe, because once you have money at home, if thieves come, if there's a fire, there's a risk. So let's save in secure places.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Now, you were mentioning about saving for investment. Last week, we also had an SMB Insight here looking at saving for investment, in which you happen to appear in as well. Now, we want to understand saving for investment. What does it entail? Why would someone save for investment? Why do people need to save for investment?
So like we said, when you're saving, you're keeping money. You're putting money aside, bits and bits of monies at different times. When you take money away from you, put it in a place that is going to grow this money. That's now where the investment part comes in. When you save, you're just keeping money. When you keep money and it's not growing, it's not a good thing. The most optimal way to move money through time. Moving money through time means I have 10,000 today that I am going to use in November. Money today is better than the money in November. Why? You have it today so you can invest it and multiply it. So that by the time December comes, you're not only having this 10,000 you had, it's 10,000 and it has grown by a certain return. So our savings should be invested so that by the time we are using this money in future, it has actually grown. It's not just saving. Because when you save, you will only reap what you've saved. Now, when we say invest, where do you invest? Now that's where the goals come in. Why am I putting this money aside? Is it for education? I need it in 3 months. How you save for a 3 months goal is different from how you save for a 10 years goal. You can actually be saving to start a business. That could be your main goal. I'm working, but I want to start a business in the next 2 years. So then that becomes your goal to invest for. So don't just keep money on an account at home. Invest that money. Yeah, invest that money, let that money grow. And you can use unit trust funds to do these investments. And it's very easy now. People are able to even invest using MTN mobile money. If you have your money on the account and to leave it on your wallet, waiting to spend it in future, you can open a Zeno account on MTN, put this money to work,
Sharon,
and then
you're very lucky
later.
MTN. We do business with MTN other ways. Invoice, Butchery. But please, we move on.
So, and now, now let's look at the benefits of saving for investments, because I do believe everyone loves to save for the future. Because when you say saving for investment, I think these investments will be growing up in the future. So what happens normally if at all these investments don't come out as you hope them to be? Because at the start or the initial beginning of your saving for these investments, you would want to actually hit a target. What if it does not happen in, let's say, 5 or 10 years? What is your plan B?
So we live in a very uncertain life.
Okay.
Uncertain is nobody knows tomorrow. Every day you wake up, there's a risk for you to either survive, go through the day, or an accident happens. So life is uncertain, okay? So, and when you're planning for these investments, I tell most of the people I talk to is plan for the worst. There is not that one way that it will work out 100%. So as you're making these investments, can you now plan? The plan A is, I have this investment I want to do. As you're making the investment, does it make sense for you to put in everything in this investment? How are you mitigating risk?
Okay.
So you mitigate risk by saying, okay, however good this business sounds like, there is always a risk that can happen in future. How am I protected? So even people that are running businesses, it's not very advisable that everything you make, you put it all back
into
in
the business.
Because then it's going to be more risky, like you have tied yourself up in only that one asset. So diversification comes in to help you plan for the risk, because risk will always happen. Even when you're comfortable today, doesn't mean tomorrow it's going to be the same thing.
Okay.
So even with these businesses we are running, can we start to put some money aside to say, should that risk happen?
This
There's
is
a
going
plan
to
B.
serve me.
Yeah, there's a plan B.
All right, and as well, we talked about the saving around the country, and also, of course, this is to help you nurture that that nation you to conquer the saving world around you. And then we also have had challenges. Sharon has helped us. If you have encountered any experience around there, maybe if you could give us your last submissions as we conclude on that one. What is that last thing that you can never go away without telling people in regards to saving improvement?
First, pay yourself first, please. Always think about that. Seek guidance from a regulated advisor that can actually guide you on how to plan for your various goals. The people that are stuck with how do I even get started, start now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Because the future is not here with us. There will always be a future. Our future is actually today. So start today, start small.
Okay, then. Thank you so much. Your submission as we enter the break.
Well, mine is simply, I think, like she says, the future is today. So saving for investment has to start with anyone now, right now, if possible.
All right, thank you so much. And me, all I need is money. Each day that comes away, I just think about how can I make that money. I think it should also be your maybe one of your drive that actually drives your night, so that you wake up thinking, how are you going to make money? We're going to a break. We return with business and sport taking us through, but SMB continues around there.